So today we're looking at cuts in opposition. Cuts in opposition are, in general, every cut I make where I still have contact with my opponent's blade. Right? To kind of connect to what Nikolai showed us last week, it was all about pressuring your opponent, right? So if Nikolai keeps pressuring me, and I keep stepping back, and I'm doing stuff, right? At one point he will get me. Right? To counter that a bit, I can decide I'm not going to step back anymore, right? So he attacks me, gives me a one, I step back, he gives me another one.
Another one.
And I'm not stepping back, right? From here, I have to take an offline step. If his blade remains in contact with my guard, I can now do a cut in opposition, which means just that. I will just physically push his sword out of the way. Right, he gives me another cut one. I parry, and I just smack it. That works if I have a good parry, but his blade lingers on my guard. Right, so he gives me another attack, and he waits here. I can push through. Right? If you remember what we did from the Spanish system with the expulsion, it's kind of similar to that, but this time I'm trying to stay connected to his blade. Right? If he gives me a cut too, same thing here. I'm sliding down, and it's just with the tip of the blade I'm giving the cut. It's not a full-powered cut. The full power is just to get the sword physically out of the way, and at the end I will just make a tip cut, right? So here I'm sliding it in, and I'm just going to finish it off with a tip at the end, right? That works. Let's say we have a tournament. This is the end of the line, right? Kind of like similar to you, you like to back away, right? I have a very aggressive opponent. I'm backing away. I'm at the end of my area. I can no longer physically step back, otherwise I'm out of the thing. Here, I can step forward into his guard, making a strong on strong, and physically just power through. Right. That is somewhat the essence of cuts in opposition. If you're in some kind of hanging guard, right, because whatever, here, I drive with my leg forward, and I'm driving my sword forward as well, right? I'm doing that to the side of the head. Here I'm giving a full smack. If it's this guard, I'm only going with the tip, and I'm trying to stay connected to his blade. Okay? Are there questions to that? No. So what we're doing is... Yes?
What if I recover?
What if you recover? Then we're doing exactly what you did last week. It doesn't matter to us.
That's too late.
Right. So if you give me a 1, I will keep on pressure.
One more?
Right. So here.
Nope.
And then we can...
And then actions and engagement.
Then actions in engagement, exactly. Right. Because now it changes. Before he pressured me, now I get to pressure him back. Right. Otherwise, it's quite an easy setup for a feint. Right. If you attack me again, I could put pressure in, you recover. We just go with feint and stuff. Right, with back catches and whatever, I can also turn it around. So from here, if you... Right, then actions and engagements.
So don't be like me, sidestep.
Exactly. It's very important that you sidestep. It's also important that you're on top of his blade, right? If he gives me an attack, please an attack 2. Right? From here, I want to be somewhere like that on the blade. So give me another 2. Right? I'm going to the side, and I'm going over so I can push in. But here it's just at the end. Right. Okay? So, to train it a bit, Nikolai just keeps attacking me with 1 and 2, right? I step back, I don't step back, and they go forward, right? Don't push it too hard, otherwise put on a mask so we can actually smack the head, right? Attack in oppositions or cuts in opposition is very much a dynamic action. It very much benefits from a strong action forward, which is a bit hard to train without the mask. Right, so if you want, put on a mask, put on a glove, and try it out, okay? Okay, so to make it now a bit more interesting, I'm giving Nikolai a few options. Still 1 and 2. Right. Option 1 is I can attack and I stay there. He does attack in opposition, right? So I attack and I stay here. He doesn't attack in opposition. Option 2 is I give an attack and I step back without moving the blade, right? Nice. So you have to kind of be careful. Option 3 is I attack, I go into a parry. So he cannot just push through, he has to.
What is the correct response?
The correct response for me or for him? Depending on what I'm doing.
If you are running back hitting the blade there?
Stepping to the side, binding and hitting me. But if I'm here and here, he can just probably aim for my arm. Because if he goes for a deep target, I might stab him. So I would rather go for the arm. But then you can just take a side step, smack my arm, and I miss.
So last week?
Yeah. But, if you want to, option 4 is you can try to defend the attack in opposition. Right? I'm doing this, you can try to do this without moving back. Right. So either it's fast enough, I get bunked in the head, I can defend, and you have to do action in engagements, i.e. hitting me on the other side. Right, so I go, bam, bam, continue. You hear if I'm, maybe yes. Go just with the false edge to the head. Right? Something like that, or the other side. Right. As soon as I'm here, go to the other side. Doesn't make sense to smack into my guard. Then you can just go for a 1-2. Okay? So again, option 1 is I give an attack, I stay here. Action in
Opposition.
cut in opposition. Option 2 is I attack, I just step back, not moving my blade. Option 3,
Nice. That was quick.
I go into a parry. Option 4, go parry without moving. Right. Okay? Questions to that? Right. Go 5-5. Right. I give him 5 actions, then he gives me 5 actions. I give him 5 actions, he gives me 5 actions. Okay? Yes?
Isn't it true that I can respond to everything like option 1 successfully?
Again, you can respond with?
If I'm quick enough, I can do a position every single time.
If you are quick enough, yes.
But that's my goal for today.
The problem is, if I step back and have it here, the chance is that you run into it.
If I lost
Creating
the
a
bind, I
double.
failed, yes.
Yes. Because for option 3, I'm going here and here.
Interesting.
Right, so you cannot just charge forward. Same thing. If you are quick enough, right? But you are never quick enough than me doing that. Okay? Other questions? All right, let's go. Okay, so we have 2 problems. One problem is if Nikolai gives me a 2, right? And I drive it high, his hands will go up there, right? because I'm giving pressure this way high. Right? I can kind of control it a bit. Right? If you give me another attack. I'm stepping this way to get it out of the line, and I'm snapping over to not put pressure up high. The other thing is I can use it as a feint, right? I can drive it high, and as soon as it goes high, we cut underneath. So we use it as a feint. Same thing here, right? If it's here and I'm driving it high, his hands will go high. I can either take a false edge cut to the arm. Right? I can push high if he goes high and back. So if he goes this, we can just take off above, smack the arm, right? Because if he now tries to step back, right? So from here, if I'm doing this, I can do that. Sorry, that was a bit hard. Right? So I can control it a bit depending on how I'm stepping and where I'm putting pressure. I can set up different stuff, right? If you give me another two. For me personally, I just like to step here. You can also threaten the stab here. Right? It's not a cut in opposition, but a stab in opposition. Again, right? So from here, I'm just stepping to the side, and from here, all I have to do is that, right? The other thing is, I'm not powering it with my arm. Please give me another two. Right? I'm not doing this. It's not an expulsion. I'm driving it and I'm powering it with my legs. Right? From here, I'm driving it with my legs, so I have still something left in the arm to finish it off at the end. Okay? What I want is try out the setup for a stab and for a cut underneath or a cut to the arm for the last 4 minutes, and then we're doing sparring. Okay? Questions? Let's go.